Greetings, everyone. A documentary was aired on nationwide TV in Jamaica regarding the disappearance of Jasmine Dean. And this is about my ninth time trying to do a review of this. I'm not sure why I struggle so much, but I'm going to, share with you my thoughts on it. And of course, I'm going to say that these are allegations or speculation at best. This thing is so disturbing, but I'm not surprised or, thinking that this is something that is just random or one off situation. So many girls have disappeared in Jamaica, and so many more will, because the thing is, when we want to solve these crimes these days, we can't just rely on, police officers. These guys need assistance, they need psychic help. Did you know that a lot of police departments around the world rely on psychics to help them solve crime? And this is one of those cases. Now, I am going to just give you my 2 cents on it, and I'm just going to ask questions more than answers that I can provide. And in my analysis of what I saw on nationwide TV, I will speculate or I make allegations. They're not founded. In fact, they're just based on how I feel while I was watching this thing. Okay. Now, so many people are implicated in that little short video that I watched. The juice man, the taxi person, the boyfriend, let's put that in capital letters, boyfriend acted very weird, very, very strange. And we hear that there's someone, I think, is charged now for her disappearance. But I'd like the police officers to take another look at it, because I think he's a fall guy. I really think the person who is in jail is a fall guy. They said that he was found with a bank card and whatever that was planted on him. In my own speculation, people, first of all, the juice man said that he did not know that she was blind, but he said he knew her. And I'm wondering, if you don't think a female is blind and she stood there the entire time waiting until you got so concerned that you decide to put her on a taxi, that is red flag number one, because you helped her, but you didn't know she was blind. Let's pause there for now. Then we hear the story that this, taxi operator took her and dropped her off at Papine. And I'm thinking to myself, who would be this human being who would see a young girl late at night, just pick her up from one spot and drop her off in Papine? To who? Did he help her get on another transportation? Big question mark. And then this is a part that really I find to be, that red light that goes on and on and on and off and on and off. Yes, with the boyfriend calling her, I don't know, 18 times. Can't remember the number, but quite a bit. And the boyfriend turning up at her house with a painkiller, knowing that she lives with her sisters and her dad, and she has a brother, and they're supposedly broken up. Why would you be calling her so many times? That just seems like you're trying to cover your tracks. But turning up at her house with a painkiller, saying that you spoke to her earlier. Now, what I want to know too is, when I have to talk about Vibes Cartel, even though he's not related to this at all, but when prosecutors were putting him away, they had cell phone tower, they had phone record, they had everything, every lead to make sure he's incarcerated. So are they not using any of these methods, or is it just they just spend this kind of big money when they're trying to put away famous or rich people? Because I'm thinking, well, why is the boyfriend cell phone not taken, and you kind of do that, thing that you do when you want to investigate, rich people? how rich persons you think are involved in criminal activities. Because I have no problem with you doing all the CSI work. It's nice. Do the CSI work in this case too. And don't let it seem like you only put in the work for the people who are wealthy when you want to put them behind bars. Because right now, this girl, Jasmine Dean, might not be important to those who are investigating, but she's important to her family. She's important to her family. Where did this young girl go? Now, I'm going to speculate that this is a bigger part of something that is looming in Jamaica, where girls are disappearing and they're either brought in the sex trade or they're taken for their harvest, for the human harvesting. This girl has disappeared in thin air, but the story that was told on nationwide TV puts all these persons that were named in that video, except for her family, of course, as possible suspects. And if I were to be on that jury, one of the things that I'd be looking at very closely is that boyfriend. Now, the sister says that, she's reading all these messages and that they had broken up and that the sister was okay with it. Then we hear about the pastor, that the pastor and her were involved in something, and that, whatever the story is with the pastor, there is something that people are ignoring. So now the victim is kind of being presented as someone who is kind of out there. They kind of take away the fact that she's a disabled person. They're not really paying any attention to that. They're looking at the fact that she had a boyfriend, and she, they highlight the story that she was still involved with him in some way, and that his baby mama could very well have something to do with her disappearance. And then they throw in the pastor in there, that she's having an affair with the pastor. All of a sudden, it's sort of taking away her innocence by showing that she had the boyfriend and that she was involved with the pastor, and all that stuff is irrelevant. It's not important. It's not anything that we should be thinking about. We should be thinking about, why did this young girl disappear? And I'm going to ask the investigators to go back and take a close look at these ones who they first brought in for questioning, because there's a link. There's a link. The juice man said he knows her, but he knows she was blind. And then he decided to help her in the middle of the night. Something is not adding up. Something is not adding up with the boyfriend turning up at her house with Advil and calling her so many times in the night. That to me seems like someone who's trying to cover their tracks. Something isn't right. And as I am speaking right now, I am hoping that this case will crack wide open, and the blinders will fall off and people will start making mistakes. I am saying, and I'm suspecting, that the one who is in jail is really a fall guy. How convenient that he has her bank card and all these things. Who is setting up this guy in jail? Because the real culprit is not. What happened to this young girl? Now, I told her the story with my little friend and how she got lured. And I'm thinking that is exactly what happened to this young girl. She was lured. She stood at that school and waited for someone who called her, someone who said they were going to pick her up. Someone who said they were going to pick her up. And the taxi, sorry, not the taxi, the juice man, he needs to be hauled back in to give some answers, because I find that the investigation in Jamaica is not very thorough. Recently, the young girl that I was talking to you guys about, who was lured, she went to make some ID with officers. I don't even know if they're officers. It's alleged. But they go to this place and they were asking her to go into the place where she was violated and find out if the person still lived there while they're waiting outside. That doesn't make any sense. It's almost as if these guys are not doing any work when it comes to investigation. Just take down a few notes, disappear. Is this what police work is in Jamaica? Who are these detectives? Are they fully trained and know that it's your job to crack these cases and you never close a file until it's solved? If it's unsolved, you continue to do that work. Now I know again that some of these guys are not making any money And so it's kind of hard to push yourself out there and do what needs to be done, if you're not being compensated. That's why that's very important for cops to be paid well, so that they can do their job, so they can have, you know that drive to solve crime in Jamaica. Jasmine Dean's disappearance is very, very unfortunate, but I'm asking the authorities to take a closer look at it and to draw that boyfriend back in. He acted very weird, very suspicious. And though the girlfriend might be involved, the baby mama might be involved in it, but I suspect if she is, he also knows about it. Something is not right. Somebody benefited from her disappearance. Who was it? Who is it, should I say? And I don't think it's just one person. I think it's a chain link leading to her disappearance. And I don't think it's good. I know the family is hoping for the best, but it's not looking very, very good. So, again, I'm going to wrap up by saying the juice man, I have my eyes on him, my side eye on that man. And he could very much be a part of this bigger picture. But the boyfriend, listen, guy, if you're innocent, so let it be. But you acted very weird, turning up with that painkiller on that particular night. And all those calls, to me, you were covering your tracks. Something is not right with that picture. People, stay safe, be smart. I say, do not trust anybody. Now, the pastor's throw in it for good measure. And I'm sure he's investigated too, but I doubt that he has anything to do with her disappearance. It's, in my opinion, pointing to one person in particular, and I hope they find the ones who really caused her family such grief. I pray for their healing, and I hope that this thing gets resolved very soon, and that the person who is in jail will be freed. He's innocent, in my opinion. Stay blessed, everybody.